the 25th anniversary going on lately for the Final Fantasy VII release, which is wild to me. One of the first games that I owned as a little kid was Final Fantasy I. I actually still have the NES posters that came in the box. They're currently packed in the basement because we're still in the moving process. But want to chat today about a thing that I found really fascinating about the earliest version of that gaming. So Final Fantasy I, that's not really about 7 today. Sorry, was that you could compose your party of different mixes of the characters, right? If you wanted, you could have 4 warriors, 4 thieves, 4 mages, 4 healers. Depending how you wanted to break down your group, you could change your mix. And what's neat to me about this is I always thought it was kind of an interesting idea. This kind of, you get this clarity of class in RPG games that at a human level, especially if you're a game developer, right, we're kind of mixing classes, right? You do probably have a little bit of computer art, a little bit of programming, a little bit of storyteller in you, a little bit of different sides of you in different ratios, a bit of maybe musician or audio person. And in that way, we can kind of think about each of ourselves as a little RPG party, where we've kind of decided a composition between how much of us is a warrior, how much of us is a thief in the rogue sense, the way that Dungeons & Dragons genre of fantasy kind of does things. But one reason why I think this lens is useful is that in thinking about that composition of that party, it makes a big difference whether or not there is a healer in the group. Whether or not at least one person out of those 4 is equipped to heal damage that happens to the others. It's critical in learning teams and learning contexts in schools and classrooms and home team game dev that you've got environments set up where when people are learning and someone makes a mistake, someone has an error, someone does something that's less than their best work, someone breaks a build, something bad happens, that somebody's around who's able to kind of help them back up, right? And that it's understood in those contexts that, like, there's going to be mistakes made, like when you go out to battle in an RPG, your units are going to take damage, right? The members of the team are going to need a healing. They're out there fighting. And so when we think about our own composition of what parts are inside of us, and we can concentrate on these skills like my programming ability, my 3D modeling ability, my game design, my level design, my artistry, my sound work, animation, all these different sides of storytelling and of digital media creation, and perhaps even glob onto that, right? Marketing concerns about how you tweet about it, make videos about it, and tell a story and pitch and all that kind of stuff. Another part of it to not lose sight of, besides the producer lens of can I keep it on a schedule, can I make a plan, is the side of do you have a healer on your team, on your internal team, especially if you're solo, but maybe always, including when you're on a team. Is there a part of you that if you start to fall, understands that, well, that's because you're putting yourself out there, right? That's because your RPG party is out there on adventures. That's expected. Right? I mean, again, the reason why no one gets upset at each other in home team and someone makes a mistake is because it's like, if you go to a karate class and you fall, that's what most people are there to do, to have a safe place to fall and get back up and learn from it. And so it's making sure that you're not ignoring that side to yourself that forgives yourself, that helps yourself back up, that can heal the other parts of you when the programmer in you, the artist in you, the musician in you, the producer in you, the writer in you, the whatever other pieces you're currently working on, make some mistakes, get some things wrong. It is going to be a messy, imperfect, zigzaggy process, and that is the only way through it. But it's having to make sure there's at least a part of you, a ratio when you're composing who's in your internal party, of who you acknowledge and give credit to, in your kind of little homunculuses in your head, that you've got someone in there who's patient with you, who's willing to give you space to learn, and who knows that those kind of mistakes and recovering from them are the only way through the process. That's all I want to chat about today. Semi-inspired by Final Fantasy, semi-inspired by my old poster, but also just thinking about having worked with somebody today who they're very anxious and worried about, very guarded and concerned about, and like, what if I break a build? What if I make something wrong for the team? And get home teams of contact I'm doing this stuff in, and get to reassure them, like, no, I and everybody else there understands, like, we're all here in a learning context. We're all here. Everyone knows that our teammates here are here to learn and practice and figure things out, and that they're here because there's things that they're learning. It's not expected like a high-pressure work environment that people just know how to do things, and if they fail at it, then everyone's upset or mad or they get punished or none of that. It's there to learn, and that's important to find, right? So in yourself, you can find and develop that. In teams you're looking out for, perhaps in companies you're exploring in the future, making sure it's the kind of environment that's got a healer in the group. That's all for today. Catch you another time. Bye for now.